So you're at sea, you're like, all right, we're going home. 6 months is coming up. And then all of a sudden, in the mess decks, they serve steak and lobster. And everybody's like, oh, God.
And now, coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California, it's the world-famous Chris and Christine Show.
Hey, what's happening? How you doing today out there? I am Chris.
And I'm Christine, and welcome to episode 50 of the Chris and Christine Show.
Yes, we have made it to the 50th episode. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate this.
It means we're only 2 weeks away from our 1 year mark. The question is, will we make it for 2 more weeks?
That'd be number 52. And there are 52 weeks in a year. If you do the math correctly, that means, yes, we actually did an episode every single week of the year.
But the question is, will we make it through to the 1 year episode?
Well, I'm down.
Each other?
I can do it. Can you do it, Christine?
Well, considering we're in the midst of home renovation and wedding planning, we're going on a day-by-day basis now.
I can only handle one problem at a time. So right now, the problem is the home remodel, and my poor car, it's been sitting outside in the elements. It's getting dirty every single day. What am I going to do?
Your poor car, my poor house. Oh my gosh. It's like dust city in here. But today was tile day and it was glorious.
Well, they have not, what do you call it?
Grouted?
Yeah, grouted the tile. So it's just in there and it's all done, right? Everything's done, right?
Yeah, it's like, it's set. It has all of the stuff that they put on the back of it. I can't remember what the compound is called that they like fasten it down with.
They glue it to the wall, into the floor, right?
Yeah, they use like a special mortar. That's what it's called. They mortar it in. It's kind of like a cement, and then they come back in, and then they do the grout over the top so that it
fills the cracks and stuff.
It fills the cracks with a bright white, and then they come in the next day and they seal it all so that when kids truck in dirt or whatever, it doesn't stain the white grout. It makes it easier for us to clean.
Oh, that sounds all crazy. And Carpenter Christine is in the house. She knows best. And so downstairs, it looks like they finished the downstairs garage. They put the hole back together in the ceiling.
Yep. They patched all the drywall up and textured it and painted over it. And except we found this other area.
Where?
It wasn't from this leak. But okay, Chris, you know I hate bugs, right?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. I mean, who does really? Who likes bugs?
But we've had this issue because I'm here most of the time by myself in the evenings. We've had this issue for the last couple of weeks with crickets in the house.
But only at night. They come in and they like, all of a sudden you're on the floor on the stairs and you look down and you see a cricket down there. Like, where'd you come from?
Right. It's like, what door did you get in from and where did you come from? And so last night I was getting ready to walk up the stairs and there were 4 crickets.
Did you name them and collect them?
Jiminy and Jiminy number 2 and Jiminy number 3. No, but they started chirping. I hate crickets.
Why don't you just feed them to Paisley? I'm sure she eats those things.
No, I don't want them reproducing. She doesn't move that fast to eat a cricket.
She'll like walk really slow. Don't you go anywhere, cricket. I'm coming to get you.
No, so I was like, what is happening? But this morning when I went to let the tile guy and our contractor in, I was opening up the garage door. And you've pointed out this hole in the drywall right by the garage door, like the reel that opens it up. Well, today I was standing by there and I heard that really loud noise of crickets. And I was like, there's crickets in there. And then what do I see through that hole but the backside of our stairs?
Wow. So do you think that there's a nest in there or something?
Do crickets nest?
I don't know. What is it, like a bug expert? How should I know these things?
Cricket colony? What is a gathering of crickets called? I really don't understand.
A school of crickets.
That's a fish.
Okay.
What is it? A cricket cluster?
I don't know, but Jiminy Crickets.
The cricket crew. So there's a cricket squad that's living underneath the stairs, and there's a little tiny crack.
That sounds like a horror movie. The crickets under the stairs. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, it is a horror movie when I walk up at midnight upstairs to come to bed, and I almost get murdered to death from my fear.
By the way, everybody, these aren't big crickets either. They're like super
gigantic. They're like
the size. They're like the size of a penny.
And that's gigantic.
Okay.
Because,
if you stepped on it, you probably wouldn't even notice.
Oh, yes, I did. I would. And they hop everywhere. And I just have this fear that I'm going to be sleeping one night and choke on a cricket that hops into my mouth.
You remember we had the dog that was here? He used to chase those things. He would like see it jumping around. Oh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? And jump after it. But
So you've had a cricket problem for a while.
yeah, I think since I moved in here, pretty much.
Well, that's the reason, is because there's that hole under the stairs, and so now you have a bazillion crickets under the stairs.
Well, you know what? It's all part of the plan. It's all part of helping out with nature and story of life.
But it only happens during summertime.
I know,
right?
it's hot. They come out. And hot. It's heat out here. It's really hot right now. We're in the middle of summer. And the spiders, it's crazy. You got spiders everywhere making webs. They made a web on my car. They made a web on Christine's car.
Yep. They made a web underneath, and they make them in the garage. And it's just like spiders and crickets and all the creepy crawlers. And I can't handle them. But it's not as bad as when I grew up in the Central Valley and we had June bugs.
What's a June bug? And what'd you call them? May bugs?
Because they come out in June.
Oh,
and
are they the big giant ones with the like green looking?
No, these ones are brown and they have a hard shell, but they like fly all over everything and they like buzz and they're zzz, like that.
It's I think I read about this in Exodus. It was
That's called the locust.
Okay. Well, same thing.
Well, it's definitely that time of year where, it's warm weather and things are starting to come out. The pests are starting to come out. And what's also starting to come out?
What's that?
Is my anxiety about the kids going back to school.
They don't go back to school for like another month, right?
Nope. They go back to school in a week and a half.
In a week? Really?
Yep. We just got their schedule last night. Ezekiel goes back to school on Wednesday already.
Now, is he physically going into school, or is he just like remote learning
Distance learning, virtual learning for all of the kids, and
not at school at all.
Not at least for the first few weeks.
Not even one day.
No.
They can't give us a break for one day.
No. Nope. We got to be full-time parents, full-time educators at home. But the schedule came out, and they're keeping the kids on like a same time school day schedule. So for Jacob and Mason, they are going to be online on Zoom for almost 3 hours a day on top of like 3 hours of schoolwork.
Exactly at the same time?
Yes. So the boys both have the same class periods, and then they have like a lunch break, but they have different teachers for every period.
What? It almost sounds like high school.
That's what I think it kind of gives a feel of. So they have one teacher for language arts, a different teacher for math, and then the teacher for elective comes in, and then they're going to have a PE class too. I don't know. How are we going to do PE?
Yeah, who's teaching the PE through the Zoom call?
How are we going to do that? Like, they can't take their computers outside.
Run with your laptop out around the yard. Don't drop it.
Well, I'm wondering if it's going to be like, okay, pause your camera and do like 15 jumping jacks. But then
they're going to play Xbox or something like that.
But they're going to make them like do it. And then we're going to be in the middle of me trying to work. And then the kids are doing jumping jacks. And, one kid's doing jumping jacks while the other one's trying to do a math quiz. I don't know how we're going to do it.
I don't either. I mean, I think everything so far when it comes to this COVID and the distance learning and the whole like school lockdown, everything's like a day by day. So tomorrow it could be a free for all. We don't know. Everything is just kind of go with your flow, figure it out as you go. I mean, who knows? Right.
And so we're just kind of taking it as it comes and just trying to figure it out. Right.
That sounds. I would say that's fantastic, but it's not really that fantastic. I'll give it a thumbs down.
That's fantastic.
A downtastic on that one.
That's an untastic.
There, yes.
Unfuntastic.
Yes, definitely.
We're
definitely
trying to come up with words here.
Unfun for sure. But other than that, Christine, what's been going on in your world lately this week?
Well, I have very good news, and that is that I got my feedback on my chapter 3 of my dissertation.
Right on.
So
chapter 3's got. Then you got feedback, but you don't have the actual, it's done yet, or what?
No. So next up, my dissertation chair comes back from vacation on Monday, and then we're going to schedule a meeting and start planning my proposal defense.
Ooh. Now, okay, when you plan your proposal defense, how does, what entails, what happens? What has to line up for that to happen?
Okay, so I have a committee of 3 members, so we have to find a date that works for all of them in the next couple of weeks. And then in the meantime, I have to prepare a video presentation that gives an overview of my dissertation. And at the same time, I have to edit my current proposal, like my first 3 chapters, and clean it all up and get it into a Word document, give it a cover page, table of contents, all of that kind of stuff, and get everything in tip-top shape so that I can send it off to my committee.
Well, you can just send it off to me. I mean, I'll check it out. I mean, I'll look it over. You know,
You give me
I'll
a
be
rubber
like,
stamp.
I'd be like, yeah, it looks great, Christine. Wait, Christine, you change. You know what? You got to change this word around here. What does this mean here? I don't understand it. So you got. I would get rid of this part here. And where are the pictures at? I don't see any pictures in this book.
Well, there are pictures. There are figures in there. But what will happen is once I send it off to my committee, they review it. And then my proposal defense, it's a meeting where I show up. They have already been meeting and talking a little bit about my dissertation. I give them my overview. They ask me questions. Then they put me in a waiting room on Zoom. And then they'll invite me back in and let me know whether or not I pass my defense or not. If I pass my defense, then I become a doctoral candidate, which moves me to like a different level. And if I don't pass, then I'll be like completely devastated and probably won't get out of bed for weeks.
So to put this in layman's terms, it means that like you're like on this one level of the video game, and then you're trying to beat the Grandmaster. But he's like the Grandmaster. He's like the weaker guy that you have to get past to get to stage 2. Or I'm sorry, stage 4. Because he's on stage 3 right now. So once you pass this guy, it's kind of difficult. He's like what's the guy in Mario World? Bowser. He's like the Bowser you're trying to get to. So when she kills the Bowser, then she goes on to the next level, and then she saves the princess, right?
Yeah, I guess that could be it. Or it could be like, you know, you're a Nordstrom user and you're like a silver user and you're trying to get to platinum status, so you get into like the special exclusive friends and family options.
Yeah, you can go with that. Yeah, sure, why not?
But anyways, it's a big deal, and I've been working towards that. But anything been happening for you this week, Chris?
Let me think. No. I mean, other than the fact that this is our 50th episode, and we appreciate you listening to it, and I cannot believe we've made 50 of these things nonstop like a train. Keep on going.
I know. We've just been powering through, and this week is no exception to that. We have a fantastic guest with a very unique background who also happens to be a podcaster, and he is going to be on with us right after this.
Hey there, K2 crew. We love having you as our loyal listeners.
To keep up to date with what's happening behind the scenes, check us out on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
And don't forget to follow our Facebook page.
Yeah, tag us in your favorite fun stories, and guess what? You might just end up on the show.
Ooh.
Hi, I'm Dietrich.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben.
We're from the podcast That Song From That Movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs.
We want you to join us on our voyage across the cinematic sound waves as we take a deep dive on a new song and movie each week to figure out just what makes them tick.
Already we've set sail with Celine Dion on the Titanic, found a friend in Toy Story, and gotten drenched out in the rain with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Hopefully each breakdown allows us to answer the ultimate question of what's better, the movie or the song. Or at least learn something new along the way.
Just like learning that Toy Story 4 is a meaningless cash grab without a soul.
You can subscribe right now on all good podcast platforms. If you use one of the bad ones, then that's on you, and we can't be held responsible.
Subscribe to That Song From That Movie.
Hey everybody, welcome back. And today our very special VIP guest happens to be another podcaster, and his podcast is called Too Many Captains, and he happens to be the professor of the podcast. Please welcome Chris, the professor of the podcast, Too Many Captains. How you doing today, buddy?
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Well, thank you for taking your time out today to doing this. So, Mr. Professor, you guys to be called the professor?
Just go, Chris.
Chris, okay.
Dr. Chris, do we add anything in like that?
No.
Well, we are very excited to have you on the show. I'm not going to lie. My Chris on this side has been a little bit of a fanboy all day long. He's been very excited all week to have you on the show. So thank you so much for taking time to be here with us.
You're welcome.
So, Chris, where in the world are we finding this other Chris at today?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, huh?
Now, is Tulsa like a pretty metropolitan area? I don't know if I've actually been in the city of Tulsa.
Yes. So Oklahoma City is the capital, obviously, of Oklahoma, but Tulsa's the second biggest city. In my opinion, I feel like it's the biggest small city in the world, where, granted, it's over a 400,000 population, but for the most part, every Tom, Dick, and Harry seems to know each other.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So it's kind of like small town feel in a big city?
With the big skyscrapers in it, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Sorry, are you on the outskirts of town or more in the city part?
I'm in what would be South Midtown. there's many boroughs that go around Tulsa, and I live closest towards Broken Arrow, which is the southernmost part.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty awesome. Have you lived in Tulsa for very long?
Yeah, since 1990.
Oh, wow, that's a pretty long time.
Minus the 5 years I lived in San Diego.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Former San Diego guy. That's where we're located.
Fun fact about Tulsa. I don't know how you pay attention to your history, but we've got a replica of the World Trade Center here, too.
Seriously?
Wait, the twin trade centers?
Well, without the twin, but yes. The same guy who built the World Trade Center in New York built a smaller replica tower here in Tulsa. It's
Interesting.
62 stories, if I remember correctly. The lobby, everything is the exact replica as the original.
That is super interesting. I had no idea that even existed in the world.
Yeah, look it up, the BOK Tower.
Pretty awesome. Now, you mentioned that you previously lived in San Diego for a few years. What brought you to San Diego?
I joined the United States Navy. Be all that you can be.
Oh, that's amazing. Were you based out of San Diego?
Well, obviously,
Yes.
there's no Navy in Oklahoma.
Actually, you know what's funny? I have a buddy of mine back in the day. He joined the Navy. Oh, I'm going to join the Navy. I'm going to see the world. Goes to boot camp, gets his orders, and he's stationed in Iowa.
Oh, man.
And he never left Iowa.
Oh, no.
So,
well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because, you have to go. So when you're in the military and you're in the Navy itself, what did you see any crazy stuff? Like, where'd you go?
Oh, wow. I joined in December of 2000. I went obviously through boot camp in Chicago, then to Pensacola for school. And then I got my orders, and I was stationed on a carrier out of North Island Naval Air Station in San Diego, which is across the bay by Coronado.
Oh, right.
And West Coast carrier, you get to see all the fun ports.
So did you cross the Pacific and get to go into, I know a lot of the ships that leave San Diego go to Southeast Asia and some of that area?
Yeah. Yes. Many port visits, different countries. I even went as far as obviously inland to the Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf. Japan, Australia, Singapore, you name it. I got to see it.
That's great. That's one thing I love about the Navy is that you actually do get to go travel around the world. And were you on an aircraft carrier?
Yeah.
Okay, that's basically what they use. Did they use standard battleships anymore? Or is it all aircraft carriers?
No. So here's the thing. I believe there's 7 battleships, and 3 of them are mothballed, and the other ones are museums now. And mothballed means it's a museum, but it can be retrofitted in a month to be active service again.
If they have to.
They have to.
Yeah.
And we're talking major catastrophe. These things run on diesel. So they
right.
Yeah.
And yours was nuclear powered, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
See, there you go.
That's pretty awesome. What type of role did you serve in the Navy?
Oh, I was a yeoman for the most part, and then I did another job after that, which I'm not very interesting to discuss about. But for the most part, a glorified paper pusher. I wasn't James Bond. I wasn't scaling walls or toppling dictators. So
well, that's what you gotta say when we ask you. You gotta say you were Maverick.
Or you make that statement, I can't tell you. If I tell you, I have to kill you. It's confidential.
Actually, it's funny. The actual job I did do, that does come with a nice clearance that comes with it. So,
ooh, very nice. Now, you said that you entered the military in 2000. So
Correct.
Were you enlisted and involved in the 9/11 types of movement?
Yes, that's a very interesting story, actually. So I was on this carrier called the Stennis, and we were doing workups. We weren't supposed to deploy until March. And so we were doing workups off the coast of California, everything going fine, everything great. And then I was working the overnight shift. On September 10th, I was done, working out, what have you, went to my rack. A couple hours later, I dozed off, and then suddenly my rack curtains, which you sleep in a rack, it's like a half coffin, we call it, with curtains.
Okay.
My curtains are ripped open, and a good mate of mine says, "Chris, you got to come here." I said, "What's going on?" He goes, you got to come here now." I'm like, "Okay." Throw on some clothes, throw in my slippers, went to the rec room, which is where you can play cards, you can watch a little TV, And there is the first tower, and it's on fire.
Oh, wow.
And you got to remember, this is early September 11th. So I've been very tired. I'm not supposed to go on, duty for a few more hours. I'm like, all right, so a building's on fire. Who cares? And my buddy said something hit it. I'm like, well, duh, it's a big building and it's standing up in the middle of the sky. Of course, we might hit something one day.
Right.
So anyway, as I turn, and I no word of a lie, hand to God, as I turn, my peripheral sees that fireball. Oh. And I snap back and I go, I won't say what I said, but you can get my idea. And this is the part that will remain frozen in my memory to the day I die. My chief, who is a senior personnel, had poked his head in, and the words he used I will never forget to the day I die. He goes, "What movie are you guys watching?"
Wow. Yeah.
And we looked at him, and sheets white, everybody stone expression, the jukebox stops, that kind of moment. And one of my buddies, he turns to Chief and he goes, "Chief, this is real." And Chief looked and he shook his head and he bolted.
Wow.
Next thing you know, the alarms are going off. Everybody to battle stations. We have no idea what's going on.
Right.
So we were supposed to pull in the next day. Towers fall, Pentagon gets hit, and it's over. But we didn't know that. So we're still out there. We have a full air wing on board, and we start launching operations with full armament on our birds.
Wow.
And we were patrolling the West Coast, and we had orders. Any planes were still in the air after a certain time, I don't care if it's got a hijacker or not, shoot it out of the sky.
Wow.
Really?
And, yeah. And so obviously the FAA grounds everybody. There's no more planes in the air, and it's kind of settled down. We all kind of took a stock of what's gone on. This is just, it's one of those where were you when days.
Right.
And so we stayed out patrolling the West Coast for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So we didn't get to do the whole mass patriotism, the candlelight vigils, all that stuff. We saw it on a little television that didn't have very good color. And so 2 weeks later, we pull in. They say, "You got 2 weeks, get your affairs in order. We're going to war."
Wow.
So they split the ship into two halves. They had Gold Crew and then they had regular crew. Gold Crew got to go home for 5 days. Go to wherever you are, your families, get your wills, get your letters of what's it called, a power of attorneys,
Right.
all that stuff. Get your stuff organized. Come back. Then the other side of the boat, they went to their side. 5 days, got their stuff, come back, and then the next day we were gone.
Wow.
And we were in the Arabian Sea. I think 8 days it took us to get there.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
That's pretty
Yeah.
fast is that full throttle for those things?
Kind of, yeah. So this top speed is classified, but yeah, pretty much full throttle. Yeah. So anyway, we get there, and I've got this great photograph of me with the first bombs ever dropped in Afghanistan. And I remember we were in the Battle of Tora Bora. We toppled the Taliban. I remember we were rock stars. Dick Cheney came to our boat. We were like, "Ooh,
Wow.
Dick Cheney!" Bush couldn't come, which bummed us out. We would have rather had Bush. So, but anyway, and he wore a pink shirt. I will never forget that to the day I die. He wore a pink shirt. And here's a fun fact: you'll get a kick out of this. He has a Secret Service detail that comes with him, right?
Right.
4 of them are there to keep him alive. Someone shoot him or anything like that.
Right.
The other 4 are there to keep him alive. Defibrillators.
Right.
Because he's got a bad ticker.
That's right. I remember that. Yes.
He wasn't allowed to walk any stairs. He had to take the weapons elevators everywhere he went.
Wow.
It was hilarious. But anyway, Dick Cheney came out, and then Rumsfeld and all that, and we were rock stars. We were out there. We came back. We were gone 8 months.
Wow.
We
That's
finally
long.
come back, and it's a hero's welcome. Full on. And then that was it. That was over. And then Iraq happened, and we went and did Iraq instead. So, yeah.
So how many deployments have you served?
2.
Wow.
Now, when you say deployment, are they full 8 months each or what?
No, technically they're 6 months, but we did so that's a lie. Sorry, they're technically 6 months. And
Okay.
the first one we did was 9.
Okay.
The second one was an easy one. It was just 6.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, I've spent a year and change of my life at sea.
Wow, that's super interesting. Now, that first one being extended, I have several friends that serve in the Navy here, and I hear frequently where they'll be out at sea and they're fully expecting to come back in 6 months, and it's okay, we're extending it, and we can't tell you how long. So just let your family know you'll be home when you get home.
So you want to hear a fun fact about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happened to us once. Okay, and the Navy we have a rule. It's called Steak and Lobster Day.
Okay.
Really? That sounds good.
Okay, all right, so hear me out. All right, Steak and Lobster Day. So you're out to sea. You've been gone months. Sometimes you haven't hit a port in a long time. In fact, actually, fun fact real quick. My first deployment, we didn't see port for 142 days, I think. That thing, yeah. So do the math. So anyway, so you're at sea, you're like, all right, we're going home. 6 months is coming up. And then all of a sudden, in the mess decks, they serve steak and lobster. And everybody's like, oh, God.
Why?
Because that means we're being extended.
Oh, no.
Is that like an underlining rule that you're like an unsaid thing?
Yeah.
Soften the blow.
Soften the blow. You know, cushion the blow. Steak and lobster. And everybody you can have as much steak and as much lobster as you want to eat. But guess what? We're turning around. We're going right back.
Oh,
Where do they get the steak and lobster from? Do they have it on
They have it brought in.
brought in from wherever they're stationed at? Or?
Yeah, supply ships. So they have a supply station. They have a supply station in Guam, which is like a major forward headquarters for the Pacific Fleet. So they do you'll have stuff brought in from Hawaii to Guam, and then Guam will take the supply ships out to the other ships and refit them.
That's so interesting to me. So I've never thought about that aspect of it. Like, we all know we sit at dinner at the restaurants on the harbor in San Diego and watch the ships deploying, and sometimes it's just for routine operations. But I've always been like, oh, well, they must have everything that they need until the mail shows up. But to hear that supply ships have to come out and replenish, that's a totally different perspective for me.
So here's the thing. A carrier can stay out to sea indefinitely. In fact, and it's fun. And actually, believe it or not, right now, one is. The Dwight Eisenhower is on the East Coast, and they've been out since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis because they don't want to get the ship infected. The Theodore Roosevelt, the entire ship got COVID, and it was a huge controversy in the news. I think everybody heard about it.
Right.
So they're trying to avoid that. So they've got a carrier. The carrier hasn't even pulled into any ports. They've just been twiddling their thumbs out in the Atlantic.
Then where do they get their stuff?
They have stuff brought in.
Oh, but still, isn't that the chance for cross-contamination?
No, everything is sprayed. Trust me. They've got their ducks in a row on this one.
Wow.
So
that's super interesting.
Yeah. But mail will be brought on. It'll be heloed over from the supply ship. You've got fuel for the aircraft. They're pumping JP5 into the bowels of the ship. I mean, it's a well-oiled machine.
Wow.
It really is.
That's so incredible. So you served how long in total in the Navy?
5 years active, 3 on reserve.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service. We appreciate this. And I do want to, I almost forgot to ask you this, but I do hear a little bit of an accent. So where in the world are you originally from?
Miglamorgan of South Wales.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So the UK. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. What was life like there? I mean, it sounds like you moved here earlier in your life, but I've always wondered what it's like to live in the UK.
It's wet a lot. It's cold a lot. But it's there are different. Obviously, I'm technically half Scottish, half Welsh, but I've never been to Scotland. I always wanted to go. I have family that lives there I've never met. But no, I spent most of my time either in a place in Nottingham, England, or in South Wales with my family. Now, is Wales technically its own country or a province? Because I'm familiar with the geography. Right. That's complicated right now, actually. It is technically its own country, but it is governed by the royal family and the British Parliament. Super interesting. There is a huge movement right now for a referendum like Scotland is doing for independence to basically break up the United Kingdom. And that's been going on for a while, right? With Wales, isn't there some history? No. Actually, not really. That's only happened since Brexit. Has Wales wanted to leave the United Kingdom, because Wales, I mean, I hate to say it, but it is quite true, is almost a borderline a third world country.
Oh, wow.
It used to be, believe it or not, it used to be one of the most powerful nations in the world. But then when they stopped producing coal, it just basically, they had no economy. So they had to basically reinvent an economy.
Oh, that sucks.
And technically almost overnight.
That's so interesting. Isn't Prince Charles the Prince of Wales, though?
Yeah, that's a title, though. He's been to Wales maybe 15 times in his life.
Just like Chris here is a professor, it's it's a title.
Yeah, it's a
Got
title.
it.
A captain.
Right.
Well, speaking of the professor, let's talk about your podcast. I know that my Chris over here has been, like I said, fanboying your podcast and loving your episodes. Tell us a little bit about your podcast story. How'd you get started?
All right. So back in, I want to say June of last year, Johnny Dangerous and Matt, who is our producer, and I were sitting at this little bar. It's like a microbrewery called Roosevelt's, which is in Cherry Street in Tulsa, a very popular place. We're sitting there and we're, shooting the breeze, and Johnny and I both have the exact same kind of knowledge about films. We read about films, we study film, and we're just sitting there having a debate. And Matt's sitting there, and he's not really a movie guy like we are. He watches movies, but his are more socially conscious. He likes movies about politics and Aaron Sorkin stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting there and what have you, and him and me and Johnny are, we're great friends, and we're just, kind of having a lively debate. And Matt stops us and he goes, "Why don't you guys just form a podcast?"
There you go. Yeah.
And we look at each other, we laugh. And we're like, you've been drinking too much. so no, anyway, but I'm walking back to my car and I'm like, wow, that really is a great idea. So I text Matt the next day. I'm like, hey, were you serious about starting a podcast? And Matt, we've told this story on our show. We have an episode where we talked about the origin of the show. He goes, he didn't realize that he actually was like, that I was serious about it. He thought it was just kind of a passing joke, like,
right.
Hey, why don't you put a podcast? I was like, well, we should form a podcast. So I started feeling out, like my best friend in the whole world, his name is Chris. We call him Money for a few reasons. I said, if we do this, you got to be part of it. He's like, all right, I'll be part of it.
Okay.
And
cool.
then my other best friend, his name is Matt as well. We call him Matty G because he's been called that since I've known him. And I said, you've got to do it. And he's like, nah, I don't know. I said, no, come on, it'll be fun. You got to do it. He is a master of music. If there is a band in this world, he knows about it.
Oh, wow.
Does he play? Does he play anything?
Yeah, he plays guitar a little bit. His wife is a phenomenal singer. She's classically trained singer. I once saw her sing the national anthem, and it brought me to tears.
Wow. Like professional, like at a stadium?
Yeah, she plays in a band. She plays. She's very, very talented woman. I'm sweet as can be. She works with my wife.
Oh, awesome.
But Matt, his music knowledge is bar none. His vinyl record collection rivals that of High Fidelity.
Wow,
which is his favorite movie, actually. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, are you into music? Do you like music?
Yeah, I do love music. I'm a huge Sirius XM nut. I love live shows. I love concerts.
Well, what are you gonna do about it now?
Do you know what's sad? I actually had front row tickets for Lindsey Buckingham back in May that I am heartbroken that I didn't get. So
well, the last concert that Christine and I went to the big iHeartRadio music festival in
right.
Yeah, went to that last year and it was phenomenal.
It was really fantastic. There was like so many top of like, I don't know,
like the best of the best.
Chart topping acts,
and
it was just amazing.
It did this cool turntable stage where like it was like a turntable, but like a curtain or something in the middle, and one band would be playing and the other band would be setting up, and they just spin it around, and then boom, and like 1 minute later the next band's up. It just keeps that way. They have able to play so many artists so quickly.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
I remember growing up, there used to have some music festivals here in Tulsa. They stopped doing them. I don't know why, but they just stopped doing them. We had Edgefest for a while, and then we had Center of the Universe festival, which was amazing. We had some absolutely phenomenal acts come through here, and they stopped doing it. I don't know why. They just one day just stopped doing it. What was that? What is that band's name? One Republic.
Oh yeah, I love One Republic.
They were the last band to ever headline the Center of the Universe concert.
Oh wow.
And everybody's like, all right, One Republic. My wife was, fangirling. And suddenly it's like they just took it away.
Oh,
and
no.
We're like, what the hell? This
Well,
isn't cool.
Do you guys have like a lot of country hits come through there?
Yes.
So I take it you're not a big country fan then?
No.
Oh no, you're the wrong part of town, buddy.
Yes, I am fully aware. No, I mean, my wife made me go see Garth Brooks, and I have to admit, I did actually quite enjoy the Garth Brooks concert. But yeah, no, I like Johnny Cash. I will say that I really enjoyed Johnny Cash. I've actually been to his grave too in Nashville.
Oh wow.
But yeah, other than that, no, I've not a country person.
So you assembled all of these friends with these diverse interests, including music and movies, and you tapped them on the shoulder with the purpose of everybody being involved in the podcast, or you just wanted their insights?
Well, originally we were trying to figure out like who was actually wanting to do it, and I even had a 6-person ready to go, but we just said 5 is enough, and we decided that'd be the best way to do it. Just keep it an odd number in case we need to do voting and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So anyway, we started that. The first recording will never ever see the light of day as long as I have breath in my lungs.
You didn't put it out?
Oh, it was so bad.
It always is bad. That's the whole point of the first episode.
It's like first pancake.
Our families who heard it said it was one of the worst things since like the invasion of Poland or something like that. It was terrible. So we didn't have pop filters. We didn't know anything. We were rookies.
Did you guys do it on your phone or something?
No, we did it with microphones, but we did it in a really small room.
Oh wow!
So the echo bounced. Oh, it was a pink room too.
Oh
but
wow!
It was Money's wife's. She does like sewing for cosplaying and stuff like that.
Uh-huh. Okay. And
it was in her room, and it was so pink. We were like, this segment sponsored by Victoria's Secrets, So, but anyway, long story short, we record the first show, and I put it together an audition. It is horrible. You hear every breath, you hear every fumbling. It was so bad. So we regrouped. We took a week or two off, and we went and actually invested in microphones and pop filters, and
there you go. Yeah,
the proper stuff. So we came back with basically episode 1.1, which we did was Blade Runner, and I had never seen Blade Runner, so this was kind of educational for me too. But the very first episode that will never see the light of day was The Godfather.
Oh wow!
And the best part about it is, and this is a running joke that we have with Matt, the producer, he has never seen The Godfather and refused to watch it for the podcast.
Oh, really? So he's like, you guys bring up references from the movie, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that was how we used to do it. It was kind of like a what have you not seen, but we decided to do it a different way. But yeah, to this day, he has never seen The Godfather. It's kind of a running joke that I love that boy to death. He's a great guy. And just trying to get him to watch a long movie it's a tall order.
Well, tell him he has a new friend in me. I've never seen The Godfather either, nor do I have any desire. So there's 2 of us in the world.
I wanted to play with him. So we do a thing called Golden Tickets where we pick our deep dives. And I was waiting for it to go around again, so we have a new golden ticket. And I was going to tell him that I'm going to make him watch the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven to see how he does with that.
Okay. Well, Christina hasn't seen a lot of movies either, so we have a movie night. We decide to pick out which movie. I always pick more of a guy. I try to pick a kind of neutral movie for us to watch.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Well, okay. Remember the last movie we saw, Christine?
He picks these. You've got to help me out. With this,
the last movie I made her watch was the movie Her on Netflix with Joaquin Phoenix.
I know, right? Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Professor. I was like, Chris comes up with these. Our Chris comes up with these, like sci-fi and like alien invasion and zombie attack, and I'm like a rom-com kind of girl. I'm actually of the mindset of I'm okay with watching the same movie over and over again, just like to kind of zone out. But that's not his mentality.
That's a Spike Jonze movie, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It was
That's
weird.
what I thought, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of movies are you into? Like, if you had a choice?
Well, it really depends on my mood, to be quite honest with you. I know it sounds kind of blasé, but for me, I gear towards epics. I want to be moved. I want to be inspired when I watch a movie. I want to be challenged. I want to be mentally, rocked. Now, granted, not all the time. I have been known to watch some pretty goofy movies. I love Anchorman. I love Dodgeball.
Okay, yes.
I love Blazing Saddles. I think Blazing Saddles is probably the funniest movie ever made. But yeah, for the most part, like I said, it's just what is my mood at the time. Like my wife right now is a full-time student. She's studying, so I don't really get to watch a lot of movies with her. But as of yesterday, her semester ended, so now I've got 3 weeks to just bombard her with movies that she's never seen.
Oh, I know the feeling. I do the same thing with Christine. Like, there's a lot of great movies, and the funny thing is, when I bring these movies to her, she's like, "That was a good movie." I said, "Yes, it was a good movie because I picked it out. I know what I'm doing."
Well, the best part for me is, and this is the part that I really like. My mother-in-law lives with me as well, and she is a lovely lady. Her and I get along like hellfire, and she has never seen anything. Never ever watched. I feel like she's never watched a movie in her life. So I'm showing her all these movies for the first time, and it's a lot of joy for me because it's like watching it through someone else's eyes. Like I would give my right arm and other vital parts of my anatomy to watch Jaws for the first time.
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Or to watch The Usual Suspects without knowing the ending, or you get where I'm going with this. And so watching her watch it with these twists and turns and seeing how she reacts to them, it's like heroin. It's very addictive to do.
It brings you back.
It really does. It's like, yeah. So I get a lot of joy out of showing her movies for the first time.
Well, speaking of movies, Mr. Professor, we on the Chris and Christine show, we're going to try something new for the very first time ever. Are you ready to try something new with us?
I am.
Okay, so we have invented a game that we're going to play. We're going to call it the
Guess the movie.
It's going to be movie clip game where we have movie clips embedded into the computer system. I'm going to play them, and we're going to see if you can, since you are the professor with movies, if you can guess these movie titles.
All right.
Are you ready to play with us, Mr.
Let's
Professor?
go. Yeah, let's do this.
Here we go.
Okay, let's set it up here.
All right, so Chris is setting up the first clip. Now, these are some a little bit more goofy, but some of them are serious. And let's let it rip, Chris.
Okay, here's the first one.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
What happened?
Had a slight weapons malfunction, but everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
We're sending a squad up.
Negative. We have a reactor leak here now. Give us a few minutes to lock it down. Large leak, very dangerous.
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And you know what the funny part of that is? Every time I have a conversation with one of the guys that doesn't go my way, I'm like, it's a boring conversation anyway.
That's fantastic.
Great job on that one.
Okay, here's the next one.
All right, first you flick this switch, then this switch. That activates it. Then you push this button, which will give you 5 minutes to get out of there. Now, whatever you do, don't push this button, because that will set off the bomb immediately and we'll all be dead. Now, repeat back what I just said.
I'm Groot.
Is that one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
Yes, it is. It is actually Volume 2. Have you seen the Guardians of the Galaxies?
Sadly. I know. This is my hot take for the day. I don't like them.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I just don't get into them. I'm like when we were watching the last Avengers movies. I barely got through their scenes. I don't know if it's I don't like Chris Pratt or something, but I just don't like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
So I have a little funny story. That was my first introduction to the Avengers movies, was a friend showing me the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And so I was like, is this what they're all like? Because it's a little bit goofy and a little bit far-fetched. And so then he had to introduce me to some of the other Marvel movies, and I was like, okay, I can hang with these ones, but I'm with you on that, Professor. Let's get another clip going.
Okay, here's the next one.
Dad! Oh, Dad! What? Dad! What? Head for the fireplace!
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
You are batting 100% right now.
Well, he's a professor, so I hope so.
All right, we've got two more for you.
A few more than that. But.
I actually, believe it or not, a lot of people don't know, that's actually my favorite Indiana Jones movie, too.
Really? It's one of my favorites, too. Yeah, I mean, I think...
a lot of people say, you don't like Raiders. I love Raiders, but I think it's the Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. They were like the Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor combo. I thought they were just their chemistry together was magnetic. Yeah.
So I guess now's not a good time to say I've never actually seen that movie.
What?
Oh.
I've seen the first one.
But hey, Chris, did you know that I think Sean Connery and Harrison Ford were only like, their age gap was almost impossible to be father and son?
Yes, I did know that.
Because they were so...
Have you seen a picture of Sean Connery lately?
No, I have not. Why?
No, it's sad. It'll bum you out.
Well, I would imagine he was like...
He's in his 90s now.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next one for you, buddy.
You're not in Kansas anymore. You're on Pandora, ladies and gentlemen. Respect that fact every second of every day. If there is a hell, you might want to go there for some R&R after a tour on Pandora. Out there beyond that fence, every living thing that crawls, flies, or squats in the mud wants to kill you and eat your eyes for jujubes.
The movie that James Cameron forced upon the world, Avatar.
That is correct. Congratulations.
Thank you. Now,
with the needless sequels that are coming.
Now, hey, I was gonna ask you, are they really making sequels, or are these kind of like
God,
that's a thought?
No, it's they're filming them right. Well, I don't know if they're doing it with COVID right now, but they were knee deep into production.
They had a script written and everything?
For all three films.
3 films. I think the end of Avatar 1, it's like the story ended perfectly. I don't know if you like it. I mean, it ended perfectly. You don't need... No. I don't think a sequel was necessary.
Well, remember this. When a movie makes over $1 billion, unless, the movie's tied up really nice and neat, and even sometimes other than that, there will always be a sequel.
Yeah, I guess so. So here, I'm going to try to pick one more for you. I'm trying to make it hard, but I don't know. These are pretty easy. Like I said, these are for the kids. So I'll try to find a real hard one.
But that's okay. If I had to answer, I would have only gotten one right so far.
Okay, here we go. Let's do this one.
What? What are you talking about? Right now, poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been secretly building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness. And you, my friend, are responsible for delaying my rendezvous with Star Command. You are a toy!
I love that movie. I haven't seen Toy Story in a while.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
I have them. I have them in my collection. I don't remember the last time I actually sat down and watched. I haven't seen the 4th one yet.
I haven't either.
I saw it on an airplane, come back from Hawaii. I started watching it, but then I got bored, and I was like, "What else is on?"
Fair enough. No, I love the Toy Story movies.
Well, congratulations. You got 100% on our movie clip game show. So we are so excited that you aced it.
Well,
there you go, buddy.
Well, to quote another famous movie line, failure is not an option.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So, Chris, where can we find your fabulous podcast?
All right. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, and you can find us on Podchaser now. And if you want to just go straight to the source, you can find us at amoviepodcast.com.
Well, that is fantastic.
And thank you so much for being here on the show with us today and for sharing a little bit about your life and a lot about your podcast. We're just so grateful for your time.
You're welcome.
This is the Nostaljunk Podcast, where one person's junk is another person's childhood. I'm Matt McGraw.
And I'm Kyle Smith. Join us each week as we take a deep dive into your pop culture consciousness and discuss everything from movies, TV, music,
cartoons, toys, video games, and more.
And we want to hear from you, so connect with us. Nostalgia means so many different things to so many different people, so share with us your favorite piece of nostalgia.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Nostaljunk Pod. And you can subscribe to us on all the major podcast platforms. Let's get this thing up to 88 miles per hour, and we'll see you next week.
Well, that was a great interview to have Chris, the professor, on with us today.
Yeah, he was super interesting.
Now, everybody listening, I got some good news and I got some bad news.
All right, tell us the bad news first.
Okay, here's the bad news first. Bad news is the time we recorded that interview with the professor, just shortly after that, the professor, I'm sad to say, he had left the band. He is no longer part of the Too Many Captains crew.
Well, that's horrible.
I know. He, I guess they went their separate ways. But the good news is that the Professor Chris, he is started to branch out like most good solo artist acts do, is they leave the band and they start their own solo career. And that's what he's starting to do right now. So the Chris Professor is going to start up his own podcast. And the good news is he asked us to be a part of it.
Oh, he did? Tell me more.
Well, he said nothing's official yet. He hasn't worked out all the kinks yet.
Okay.
But he did ask me personally if he would like for us, he loves us so much, he would like for us to be a guest on his new show.
Well, we are pretty fun.
Well, we can be.
Yeah. Especially
Spicy.
with our spicy banter.
Yes, definitely. So when we find out more about that, we'll let you guys know. But for right now, it's all in the drafting pages or stages, however you say it.
Yeah. So I loved listening to his stories about like being in the military and then like his experiences with the podcast and like being there with his friends. And, I'm kind of sad that he's not with it anymore, but I'm super happy that he's finding his purpose and passion on his own. I think that all of us should do that, right?
Right, exactly. And podcasting is not for the exclusive few. It can be for anybody. And with some certain apps out there, I'm not going to plug them because we don't use them. They make it very easy for pretty much anybody. I'm talking your 5-year-old could probably make a podcast.
Yeah. Well, Chris, this does bring up for me a little insecurity. So,
Why?
When I hear of people like breaking up the band and going out on their own, are you going to leave me to become the solo, world famous Chris show?
I don't know. You better watch out because maybe Paisley will be my sidekick.
The turtle.
Yes.
Your silent partner.
Yes. Hey, Paisley, what do you think? Really, Paisley? Paisley. I said, no language like that. Okay. But no, I love the Chris and Christine show. There is no Chris and Christine without Chris and Christine.
Aw, thanks, babe. I appreciate that.
I'm so glad that I have chosen you to be part of the Chris and Christine show, and I could never have done this without you.
Well, I'm so glad that I allowed you to choose me too.
Yeah, you got else going on. She's like painting her nails. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'll join your show, whatever. Give me the microphone. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, but we have been talking through like what we want to do next for upcoming year number 2, and I'm very excited for all of the plans that we have in store. And I'm super excited that we're going to pass this milestone where actually I know it's not hitting it yet, but we're going to go out tomorrow night and have an early celebratory dinner.
We are?
What? Goofball, you're the one that asked me to book the reservations.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, we're going to Costera.
We are?
We're going to Costera, and it's like dining out on the waterfront in San Diego with a beautiful view of the skyline, and we're ordering the tableside guac.
Oh, okay. Is that when they take the guacamole and they make it right there in front of you?
Well, they take the avocados.
Oh, that's right, the avocados. Yes. They make the avocado. They make the guacamole with the avocados, and they mash them all up in that bowl.
Yeah,
right
and you get to add like what you want.
It's kind of the way they do it at Chili's. Shouldn't Chili's do that too?
Maybe this might be a little higher class than Chili's.
But avocados are avocados. Come on now.
But in a little molcajete, like
just because they charge $30 for it doesn't mean it's better.
They have like the guac expert. And he's like the guac guy.
Okay.
Because he's guaco fantastic.
And he wears a cape. Says I'm guac man or something.
I'm guacatastic.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you again so much for listening to our podcast. And if you want more information on our podcast and all these fun adventures we do, you can always check out our website. That is chrisandchristineshow.com.
Or you can follow us at K2 Show San Diego on Instagram.
And on Twitter. And on that, what's it called? The book face? What's it called? Facebook. That's what it's called. Yes, but don't you worry. All this information will be inside the show notes on this podcast that we're playing for you right now.
And don't forget that the next 2 days are your last opportunities to get in on the survey because it is shutting down in 2 more days. And so if you want your chance to win that fabulous Amazon gift card and to give us some great feedback about what you love, or you don't so much, then we would love to hear you and hear your voice on our survey. So go to chrisandchristineshow.com, click on the link at the bottom of the page, and your entry will enter you into the drawing for an Amazon gift card.
Woo-hoo! Fantastic. And on that note, you guys have a fantastic week, and we will see you guys next time.
Remember this week that life is too short to wake up in the morning with regret.
So love the people who treat you right, forget about the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason.
If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that it would be easy.
They just promised it would be worth it. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris.
And I'm Christine. And until next week,
keep moving forward.